The radio cricket on us, sharp, sudden, almost hopeful, and then collapsed into that static. Anton Volkov held it closer to his ear, as if pressure alone could force life back into the signal. Nothing, just a thin hisses, like air escaping a wound. He slowly lowered the handshot and scanned the horizon through the broken windows of the observation tower. Below them stretched the industrial zone, or what was left of it. Skeletal factories lay gutted and blackened, their steel frames twisted into unnatural angles, frozen mid-scream from some long-forgotten bombardment. Conveyor belts hung loose like torn tendons. Smoke drifted low, mixing with ash and snow until the ground looked powdered with bone. The wind mouthed constantly, never resting, dragging loose sheets of metal across concrete. Every scrap echoed, to a loud, to a sharp. Sound didn't behave normally here. It bounced, stretched, returned from the wrong direction. A single footstep could sound like a squad advancing. Anton raised his fist. 5 soldiers froze instantly. Their training shaved in that moment. No words, no panic, just controlled stillness. Sergeant Malik knelt and slowly brought his machine gun to bear on the main access road. Kaval slid closer to the railing, peering down through his optic. The hours caved in glass Anton couldn't see. Anton lifted 2 fingers, then pointed at his ear, shaking his head. No commas. Malik's jaw tightened. He leaned in close, voice barely more than-breath. Dead or jammed. Dead, Anton whispered back. And I don't like how quiet it is. Below, a loose chain swayed from a collapsed crane, clinking softly as it hit steel. The sound echoed again, and again, multiplying, returning from the factory halls like a warning. Anton checked his watch. They were already 3 minutes behind schedule. He exhaled slowly, forcing his heartbeat down. Fear tried to rise, crawling up his spine, but he crushed it the way he always did, by turning it into focus. Hand signals now. He extended his arm, slicing it forward. Move. The team descended the stairwell in single file, boots placed carefully, rifles tied to shoulders. Every step down felt like entering a throat that wanted to close behind them. The air grew colder, heavier, smelling of rust, oil, and old fire. At the base of the tower, Anton paused. He studied the factory entrance, dark, white, inviting. To inviting. Then the wind stopped. For half a second, the entire complex went unnaturally still. Anton's instincts screamed. The rifle shot cracked the silence like a hammer striking an anvil. Concrete exploded inches from Anton's head, spraying dust and fragments across his face. The sound hit a heartbeat later, sharp, violent, multiplied 100 times by steel walls. Contact. Malik roared as Anton hit the ground and rallied, the echo of the gunshot chasing each other endlessly through the ruins. Steel had started talking. Anton's hand slammed down, fingers spread wide, down, take cover. The second shot came faster than the echo of the first, snapping through the air and punching sparks from the metal stair railing. The sound ricocheted wildly, rebounding off walls, ceilings, empty halls. It was impossible to tell where it came from now. That was the enemy's advantage. High ground, long sidelines, and a place where sound led. Malik was already fearing. His machine gun roared to life, the recoil hammering into his shoulder as he stitched the upper levels of the factory with heavy bursts. Muzzle flashes lit his face in brutal orange pulses, each one mirrored and distorted by reflective steel. Smackstick, he shouted, though the word was almost lost in the thunder. Anton said then, a flicker of movement high above, a silhouette barely visible through broken scaffolding. He aimed and fired to control it. Shots. The rounds vanished into shadow. No confirmation. Kaval, Anton barked. The young soldier was already moving, sprinting low and fast across the open concrete. Bullets sparked behind him, snapping off the ground like angry insects. He slid behind a fallen conveyor belt, shoulder first, come up on one knee, and pulled the pin. The grenade felt impossibly loud when it went off. The explosion tore into the smackstick's base, sending a wave of dust and rust outward. Steel groaned, Ten screamed as the massive structure folded inward. Chunks of concrete and metal rained down, clanging and crashing, tear echoes rolling through the complex like thunder trapped in a cage. A scream cut through the noise, high, command, short. Ten silence again. Anton signaled forward. They advanced in pairs, covering angles that constantly shifted as shadows moved with the smoke. The factory seemed to rearrange itself with every step. Doorways led into darknesses that swallowed light. Windows reflected movement that wouldn't turn. Every echo suggested another enemy just out of sight. A body lay half buried under debris near the smokestack. Enemy uniform, sniper rifle twisted and useless. Anton spared it a glance, no time, no mercy. Inside the outer hall, the air chunked. It was warmer, stale, heavy with the smell of old machinery and gunpowder. Red rust coated the walls like dried blood. Overhead, chains creaked softly, sewing to turn was no wind now. Malik leaned in close again. They knew we were coming. Anton nodded. They always do. A faint metallic clatter echoed from the left corridor. To a deliberate. Anton raised his fist, freezing the team mid-step. He counted silently. 1, 2. A shadow crossed the doorway. Anton fired. The figure dropped instantly, weapon clattering across the floor. The sound echoed again and again, chasing each other deeper into the factory. 10 come footsteps. Many of them, running, from multiple directions. Anton's eyes hardened. He gestured sharply toward the central hall. The objective was close now. Move, he hissed. They broke into a run as gunfire erupted behind them, bullets chewing into steel and concrete. The factory answered with a deafening chorus of ricochets, each impact ringing like a bell struck to a heart. Steel was no longer whispering. It was screaming. They burst into the central hall like a wave breaking through them. The space opened up abruptly, vast, cavernous, its ceiling lost in darknesses. Rusted gantries crisscrossed overhead like ribs. Old assembly lines sat frozen in place, their robotic arms reaching out as if begging for purpose. At the far end, behind a wall of shattered glass and bent security doors, soft blue light pushed steadily. The server room. Anton raised his hand again, slowing them. His breathing was controlled, but his pulse hammered in his ears, trying to drown out the distant gunfire that chased them through the corridors. The echoes here were worse. Every sound lingered, overlapping with each other, creating a constant, disorienting roar. Malik moved to the right, covering the catwalks above. Kaval and the others feigned left, weapons striking shadows between machinery. Anton advanced down the center, eyes never still. They were halfway across the hall when the light died. Not flickered, not dimmed, gone. The darkness hit like a physical blow. A split second later, red emergency strobes snapped on, biting the hall in violent pulses of crimson. The machines seemed to move now, appearing and disappearing between flashes. In the gaps between light, anything cold behavior. Gunfire erupted instantly. Muzzle flashes flared from the catwalks, 10 from behind conveyor belts, 10 from somewhere impossibly close. The noise became unbearable, automatic fire, shouting, still ringing with every impact. Echoes stacked on top of echoes until direction lost all meaning. Anton dropped, rolling behind a steel press as bullets tore chunks from its housing. He returned fire on instinct, squeezing the trigger whenever a shot appeared in the red light. He didn't know if he hit anything. He didn't have time to care. Kaval, he shouted. No answer. Another straw pulse revealed Kaval sprinting toward the server room door, hunched low, clutching a data drive in one hand. He was almost there. The next flash shoved him spinning violently, his body snapping backward as rounds tore into his side. The drive skidded across the floor, scraping and spinning, its sound impossibly loud in the chaos. Kaval is down, Malik yelled. Anton was moving before the words fully registered. He ran through fire and noise, sliding beside Kaval as the lights flashed again. Blood sucked through the young soldier's uniform, dark and spreading. Kaval's eyes were wide, unfocused. His lips moved, but whatever he said was swallowed by the factory. Anton pressed his hand against the wound, hard. Stay with him, he ordered, leaning close. He didn't know if Kaval heard him, or if hearing even mattered anymore. Another stroke. Enemies advancing. Malik's machine gun thundered again. 10 stuttered, 10 fell silent. Jump. Malik snarled. He dropped behind cover, hands moving fast and sure, clearing the weapon under fire. Rounds slammed into the steel inches above his head, showering him with sparks. He didn't flinch. The server room door blew outward in a cloud of smoke and sparks. Data secured. Malik shouted a moment later, holding the drive aloft. We've got it. Anton looked down at Kaval. The red light flashed again. Kaval didn't blink. Anton closed his eyes for half a second, no more. That was all the time he allowed himself. He grabbed the smoke grenade from his vest and yanked the pin. The canister clattered across the floor and erupted, thick white smoke pouring out, swallowing red light and shadow alike. The echoes chunked instantly, muffled and confused. Anton rose, arms slicing through the haze in a single, unmistakable motion. Charge! They ran, through smoke, through gunfire, through the screaming steel that tried to trap them forever. Bullets passed close enough to feel. Shadows lunged and vanished. Someone fell behind, 10 kept moving. The factory collapsed inward as if furious at their escape, beams grinding, metal tearing each other apart. Daylight exploded into view as they burst through a side exit, lungs burning, ears ringing. Fresh air never tasted so sharp. The evacuation helicopter rose through the smoke moments later, rotors beating the echoes into submission. As they lifted away, the factory burned beneath them, its steel skeleton glowing red in the night. Anton stared down at it, jaw tight. The mission was over, but the echoes would never stop.